I feel the success of the recent marketing campaign that I did was the fact that I've got more than five or more than one um, person who took that poll. It's like, okay, cool. And then it started building momentum. Then a week later, I was still having people, because I forgot to close it out, but it's okay because it's, and they just kept coming in. So, the patience that I had, and then the ability that to even start it, and then people who commented on it. I mean, that to me is like, okay, they're seeing it and they're interested, and it brought attention to them, and so.
Are you marketing your business effectively? That is a hot topic for every small business owner. Today, we are talking about questions about marketing that you should be asking yourself. So join Anna and Selena along with our guest surprise co-host, Annette Whittenberger, today as we discuss the questions we should be asking as a small business owner about marketing your business effectively.
So that was a mouthful.
Right? I know. It's like over and over in the same words. But
hey, look, I just want to wait. I'm going to just do this first because it's official. So hold on. Let me just, okay. Look, this wonderful woman got a quick phone call from us to come co-host and join the chat today. And we're so excited. So she's not a guest, she's a co-host.
She is a co-host. Yes.
So we're going to bring this fabulous lady on.
Yes. Let's do it. Hi, Annette. You're muted, my friend. So make sure you unmute yourself so we can talk to you.
Hi. I haven't even had coffee yet.
This is why we love you. You guys, there's a couple things I want to bring up. One, we are all from a military community. Two, this is a wonderful friend because legit, who else says, come on live? I know we haven't even given you enough time, but come live and talk to people.
In the next 20 minutes.
It's good.
I'm wearing my Wonder Woman shirt for all of us today because somehow I brushed my hair and teeth and put on clothes and iced coffee right to get on here.
Check. I mean, seriously, could we not have asked for a better co-host today with Annette coming on? So
yes. So just to let everyone know, the reason why we're having Annette on is our guest today unfortunately had to cancel very last minute. And so we are kind of doing a spur of the moment, but of course we're always prepared and super flexible. And so Annette is going to join us today to talk about marketing as a small business owner because she is also a small business owner. And this, like I said in the intro, is a super hot topic for all of us when it comes to how do you make a profit if you're not effectively marketing, right?
And Annette knows this because she is currently in a new service that she is doing the thing. So this is going to be good to have some feedback of her input today when we discuss these questions. So
for anyone listening right now, if you're out there and you're listening, tell us in the comments, are you marketing your business effectively? Like if you had to just say right now, yes or no, pop it in the comments. Yes or no. Are you marketing your business effectively? What would you say, Annette? Are you?
Sometimes I feel like I'm not. It's overwhelming. But I think that the biggest thing that I had to learn was to ask for help. Learn from, for example, I'm not just saying this to say this, but you guys put out such valuable content that it is important for us, and they think so too. It is important for us to keep our minds open and learn from experts, learn from other people, because you're going to learn something new every day. There's no way we know everything on our own. So take tips from experts, take tips from people like you, and try to incorporate that. It might not work for everybody, but at least you can try it and incorporate it into your own business because it's so invaluable.
That was a mic drop right there, Annette, and that's what I missed it. So.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you, Canva, for the new shortcut stuff.
Dang.
Like, you know.
No, see, and I didn't know that about Canva. So go ahead.
I will send you shortcut tips. I can do confetti. I can do bubbles. I can do quiet. I can do, the Canva gave some things. It was really cool. I want to answer this too. I effectively do it for my clients, but I do not do it for myself.
Yes, that's me, Selena, right there. I do it effectively for my clients, but not for myself, because myself becomes last priority. Mm-hmm. And when I'm worn out and I'm tired and I've had a big full day, it's not on the top of my list, right?
Yeah. No, and I don't know how to combat that. And I was just having a conversation with someone. They're like, "Oh, do trade and have somebody else do it, because then it's different when you do it for somebody else." And I was just like, but then I don't know if I have the bandwidth to do theirs. I don't know.
Right. But that's something to think about, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, before we get too deep into this conversation, we need to take our coffee cup selfie so that we can really start kind of some of our questions that we want to make sure here, I got to turn it this way. Tip, right? All right, join us.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
That's how I feel. No, thank you. Okay, yeah, let's just jump into our first questions we're going to chat about and see what Annette thinks and Anna thinks and myself thinks, and we'll go from there.
So we kind of came up with 4 questions that lead pretty great into each other. And our very first one is, what new ways will you use to connect with your target audience? Yeah. And so just to kind of preface this just a little bit, like there's an assumption here. 1, you know who your target audience is, and 2, you're using some way currently to connect with them, right? So that's the assumption that we're starting with here. And as we move forward into this last quarter of the year and starting a new year coming soon, which I know might freak some of us out, it is a little bit stressful for me, right? Yeah. But this is a great question to ask. Is what are you currently doing? And is there something new that you can do that your audience might get really excited about? Yeah. Right?
And listen, I'm going to ASMR this. Your mom is not your target audience.
So if your mom's the only one commenting on your posts, it might not be effective.
Hey, she supports you, and I would do the same, but just remember that. So.
All right. So, Selena, do you want to start us off with what new ways would you use to connect with your target? What does that say to you? What are you asking yourself?
Right. I'm like, let's talk about me and what ways would I want to connect, right, with my target audience. And I think the question was like, who is my target audience? And I often say, like, what I do for my business is different why I have my socials. It's kind of weird. I'm not actively seeking new clients, but I want to be on socials. So, is that where I am to target? What is my audience, right? So for me, I think I'm going to use social, but in a different way to educate others that are in my field that want to do what I do. And that's where they are. We're always looking when we're scrolling on TikTok at night, and we're, getting ideas. Where do you think I got the Canva shortcut idea? I got it here on TikTok or on Instagram Reels,
So Athena, I just called you Athena. I don't even know where that came from.
Isn't that the warrior goddess?
I mean,
high school,
Wonder Woman up there, Annette. So I mean, we're going along with the theme. So
okay, Selena, I think you brought out 2 really important things. Yeah. One is, what are your goals with your marketing efforts, right? Which is something that we're going to talk about. That's one of our questions, right? Yeah. But if your goal is not to bring in new clients, then your marketing strategy is going to look different. And what you're trying to do with your target audience is going to look different.
I agree. And that I love the subcategory of friends that are there at your feet saying, yes, Anna, I agree. No, right. That is, I mean, that's very true, right? Is like, it doesn't always translate to, I am a WordPress designer, so therefore I'm going to go onto Instagram and look for clients who want me to design their WordPress sites. Yeah, that's not how I'm getting them. You know what I mean? So, but I'm gonna go defer this question up to Annette, and then we'll round robin this. Annette, like, you are in a new venture as an, independent artist. Like, how are you connecting with the audience that is your target, for this music lane that you are now in?
This is so good because I've had to learn this from when our teachers would ask us, who was our audience. I'm like, but it's the military community, it's military spouses, it's veterans. And he was like, that's great, but like, you need to start thinking this way. And so that was hard for me. Mm-hmm. I had to create, for my requirement, three new social media accounts that was targeting music, independent artists, this and this. So it was very eye-opening for me because I do have to do this. I had to think in a different capacity now. And so even my TikTok feed, all the new independent artists are coming in, and I'm loving it because they're amazing and they're talented, and I want to be like them when I grow up. Yeah. So, but yes, I had to figure out who my new audience was, who am I going to attract? And so then I use, polls and feedback from my Facebook friends relating to music now. And it's not to say I'm not still going to continue my work with the military space, but I needed to learn how to do it a different way. And that was weird and hard.
So I love what you just pulled out though. So you're using your new strategies are polls and surveys. You're on different platforms than maybe you were previously. Your messaging is a little targeting a different group of people. And this is really what this question's about, right? Like, if you're a small business owner, you have to sit down and say to yourself, okay, am I reaching who I want to reach? Yeah. And if you're not, don't keep doing what you're doing. You're just wasting your time, right? Yes. Your presence on your socials, if it's not reaching your audience that you want to reach, it's time to try something different. And you can just jump on whatever search engine you love most and type in ways to reach my target audience. And you're going to get a huge pile of things that people are going to recommend that you can do in order to make that happen. But Annette just threw out a couple that she's trying. Look, love the polls and surveys idea. I do as well. I think that, and people like to do those, right? I mean, what's our hot trends right now? Video.
Hi, Brenna.
So it's things like video and stories. Stories are really big. People want to be able to flip through things even quicker than we used to, and be able to hit a quick reply on your stories. So try some of these new things. If you're a small business owner, you're not using some of these things, try them and see if they don't hit your target audience in that right spot.
I think it's a way, if I might just say one more thing, I think it's
10 things in it.
I think it's another way to make your audience feel heard, to feel seen, because we can sit here all day long and be like, I do this and I could do this for you. But when is it their turn to say, but this is what I would like to see as well? A couple weeks ago, when I did a poll for music, how can, what do you like about it? How does it help you? All that. So many people wanted to jump in and give that feedback, because they wanted to be heard too. And so I think that's another way to be personable with your audience is, what can I do? What else can I do instead of all these other things that might not be working? So ask them.
You're including them in the process, which, like you said, I think that's.
And just on a side note, I just read this really great article that did talk about, are you creating an audience or a community? And that question ties into it, right? Your audience is when you're the one that's the expert, always telling. But a community is when you're inviting your target audience, when you're inviting those people in your social space to have a say. And if you want to build a community, you have to cut your ego off and say, I don't always know the best way to go, maybe. Right? I need your feedback. I need your input. So, there's so many things. This one question, we could probably spend all 30 minutes on this one question, right? Because there's so many factors that play into finding that right target audience, making sure your messaging is correct for them, making sure it's going out in the right way, using the right tools and platforms and whatnot. So, not to overwhelm any small business owners,
Yeah,
talking to you
but
right
this is the reality of it, right? I have some clients that are like, just go post something on Facebook. And you're like, no, that's not, you
Yeah.
gotta do a little bit more research, right? You
now.
can't. That's like, your toddler doing your socials for you, right? Just to keep you present.
Yeah.
So Anna, real fast, you didn't really answer this, but do you want to answer the next question then and start
Yeah.
us off? Okay.
Yeah, I can answer. I'll start us off with the next question. So let
Okay.
me take this one down. Our next question is, what new ideas will you use to generate leads? And boy, doesn't this just flow, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things we just discussed is the fact that sometimes that's not what your marketing is all about, is generating leads. That might not be your main goal for what you're doing. But for me, what's been most effective for me for generating leads, honestly, is networking and in-person referrals. That's what's bringing me business currently. Now, I've already admitted that I am not 100% on my social digital game for my own business, right? But I do have some things in place. And what my focus for the last week has been, not week, I'm going to say quarter and upcoming quarter and all of next year, to really define what my marketing funnel is going to look like. And so that idea to generate leads for me really comes down to making sure that I have a good strategy from all the places I am spending my marketing time. Like if they start here, can they make it to asking me for a proposal? If they start here, can they get there? If they start here, or am I making it difficult for them? And just really looking at where I'm spending my time and make sure that lead generation funnel strategy is cohesive and clear and easy for my ideal client to find me and reach me and connect with me, right? That's my new idea in that sense, right? That's a big process, but I think that for me is what's key for me right now, where I'm currently at with my business.
So good. So good. Annette,
Thank you.
what do you think, like, what are some things you're toying around with for you to get new leads?
So for this new journey,
Yeah.
I've had to put myself out there in a whole different way, and it's been terrifying. But one of the things that I did do, and we discussed this, was I had to put myself out there, and I applied to be a workshop presenter for this event that is insane. It's going to be insane. So that was one way. I put myself out there. I applied, even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I don't know what I can offer. I'm brand new, blah, blah, blah. But you have to just at least try it. So I got accepted. I'm going to be presenting a workshop on songwriting. And that is going to help me show that I can do this and how I can be helpful. And then maybe later on, I can work with people and write songs for them, right? So it's just a small, you just got to take the small steps to get there. And then it'll eventually, it'll get where I want to be. But that was just one of the ways that I did it, is I had to go in this whole new direction and just try it out. And then, God just was like, yes. And I said, okay, let's do this. And so now I'm going to Nashville and I'll be doing it. So it's just, you just have to try. You just have to try it. And I think, again, it's like it goes back to taking the polls. What do people want to see and how can you help? And then it'll lead there. It'll take time. It'll be scary, but you have to try.
So true. I love that as an idea to generate leads, because people sometimes don't think about that, right? Of like, creating a workshop, and making sure it's effective in the sense of when you conduct the workshop, leaving that door open to say, hey, come find me after the workshop and we can continue the process.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Seriously.
Yeah. And part of that is just putting yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to do that. And when you're a small business owner, sometimes your time is limited. But if you can find a way to put yourself out there, put yourself kind of in that spotlight every once in a while, I think that's important. Instead of constantly being behind the scenes and constantly doing that client work, it's important to step out and say, hey, here I am, front and center, shine that spotlight on me for just a second, so I can remind people, remind your target audience, I'm good at what I do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I just want to kind of just emphasize one of the things Anna had mentioned about how she would generate leads, and that's networking. I want to just take it like one step further. There's the networking, and then there's like relationship building, right? Like, so you've networked, you've met them, and there's that surface like, you need to meet Annette. She's fantastic. She's all over LinkedIn. And then there's like, oh my gosh, Annette, she's an amazing human. She like takes care of her like grand puppies, and you know what I mean? Like, there's more of a story that people are invested in because you're building a relationship with the person, that they're the ones that like sing your praises when somebody in another circle you're not a part of is inquiring.
Yeah.
So just food for thought. Like, you know, obviously you can't relationship build with everybody because you only have so much like bandwidth in your life, but still, you know, pick good, really strong, positive relationships that you know that will give meaning to you.
And I think, yeah. And part of that, yeah, part of that is a give and take, right? So make sure that if you're building a relationship, you feel just as comfortable about recommending that person as they would about for you. And that's one of the reasons why Selena and I love LinkedIn so much. And Annette, you're on LinkedIn as well. I keep pointing the wrong direction. You know, it's like backwards for me. But you're on LinkedIn as well. And so and I think that that's such a wonderful location. If anybody is not currently on LinkedIn as a small business owner, you need to get on there. There is a community there, and you just start commenting on other people's posts. You know, find a hashtag that fits something you're interested in and go say a few words on some people's posts where they said something insightful about it. It's such a great place to develop those professional networking relationships.
No, I just connected with somebody on LinkedIn because of a comment I had put on somebody else's post. So it does happen, right? And so,
what's your answer to this, Selena? How are you generating leads?
No, honestly, for me, it's the relationship building, right? I do look long term, in the sense of like I know I don't need them. Maybe is why I am acting like that right now, right? Like I have a nice full roster, but I'm thinking long term, like, hey, when will this be? So I do. I just relationship build, and I help others because I know when it's time for me to make an ask, I know that I'll have people going, hey, let me, you know, I want to help Selena out. She's helped me in the past, you know. So
yeah,
that's really how I'm generating leads right now. Is I'm playing the really long game because I have the time. I have the time to do that.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to move on to our third question that you should be asking yourself as a small business owner. And if you're listening live right now, feel free to throw your answers into the comments. We'd love to hear something from our audience about what they're doing that might be different than what any of us are saying out there. So, all right, question number 3. You should be asking yourself, how can you better measure the success of your marketing campaigns? Oh, this is such a good question. Annette, do you want to start us on this one? Are you comfortable doing that?
So I feel the success of the recent marketing campaign that I did was the fact that I've got more than 5 or more than one person who took that poll. You know, it's like, okay, cool. And then it started building momentum. You know, then a week later, I was still having people, you know, because I forgot to close it out, but it's okay because it's, and they just kept coming in. So, you know, the patience that I had, and then the ability that I, you know, to even start it, and then people commented on it. I mean, that to me is like, okay, they're seeing it and they're interested, and it brought attention to them, and so. That was mine for right now, since this is new in this capacity. So
No, I'm excited about this. Anna knows because she knows what my answer is. Right, Andrea, don't throw money away. Metrics matter.
Yes.
So I love data. I'm a data geek. So what we do, Anna and I do on all of our websites, and I kind of just started adding this service as an individual, but attach your Google Analytics and then use them. And when I say use them, have yourself generate a report that gets sent to you daily, weekly, whatever you are so desire, and look at what's coming to your website with the campaigns that you are running. I have a big client that had no idea that he had 3,000 hits a week on his website, and he had no idea what was the most popular food area that they were visiting. So, but these are all metrics that they took to the team, and they can go, whoa, okay, this is what our audience is really liking. Let's focus on this campaign to push this better. So for me, I will always recommend to everybody, use Google Analytics as a metrics to help you measure, if the goal is working. And again, the goal has to be like, the end result is getting them to your website, right? Like if your social campaign is like, hey, head to our website and purchase this order, or head to our website to learn more about our nonprofit, you'll see that in the numbers on your Google Analytics report.
Yeah.
I do have to say that that's awesome, because I do check, I can't talk. I do get the analytics in my email. So when I do open it up, I get excited that someone's been there longer than 30 seconds.
Yes.
I'm like, yes, they've been there for a minute and a half. So right? But I can see, and then where are they coming from, what countries, and so that, yes, absolutely it's so cool.
No. But what it shows is that whatever is on your what content you have is of value to that person. So what they were looking for, they found. And that's an important confirmation that what you're doing, or what your website has on it, or what your, wherever the end place they end up is doing what it's supposed to do for your client. Yeah.
But think about, though, even on the flip side, all of a sudden you're like, hey, like my client that has 3,000 views a week, I can take those metrics. I can go and get a sponsor, because they're going to want to pay to be on my website, because I get that many people viewing. So, you know what I mean? You are using metrics of some sort to help you define marketing campaigns, but maybe also create the marketing campaigns, but you have the numbers. There was a military spouse that we helped set up hers, and she loved seeing actually the different areas in the US where traffic was coming from. And she says, I love seeing this, because now I can take this to this city that and say, look, there is people like this. There's about 50 people this last week from your city that I'm not even living in that are interested in this product.
Yeah.
So, that's awesome.
Yeah. So use it. See, I get excited. I'm very passionate.
Yeah.
Got me, Anna, or I'll keep talking about Google Analytics. People are going to be like, snooze fest. All right, Selena.
Well, I think the important thing here too is I want to just touch really quickly on what a metric should look at. So I'm going to throw this comment up. Looking at the analytics at the end of the year and strategizing for the following year. Absolutely. Yes. That's super duper important. And that should be happening now in this third quarter, right? Because you don't want to start January going, now what do I need to do this year? So start looking at those metrics now. If you're not connected to Google Analytics, get your website connected to Google Analytics. But one of the things I would say about this is that you really have to know what that metric is that you're trying to track, and then have an effective way to do that. So if your call to action is to visit my website, then Google Analytics is great, because you can see now, hey, did my website visits go up? Did they use a bit.ly link or something that's tracking the number of clicks, right? So you can see using the right tools is going to be super effective for helping you track those metrics. You cannot track nebulous metrics. It's so hard. And so often, especially as digital marketers, right? We get clients that are like, how come I don't have 700 new people in my, buying my product or whatever? And it's like, it doesn't really work that way, right? Like, it's not just because we reach 700 people, you'll now have 700 people buying your product. And so understanding that marketing game and really what is a good metric? Those are all very important pieces of measuring and understanding and better measuring your own marketing campaigns. So here's something a lot of people don't know, right? If you're doing an email campaign, what's a standard click-through rate? What is the standard open rate, right? And it's going to be different and specific for your industry and your market. There are some generalities, right? I mean, what is it currently? I think open rate currently, if you're getting 20 to 30% open rate, that's fantastic. So, I mean, and if you're getting a 20 to 30% click-through rate, fantastic. So if you're averaging more than that, then, hey, you're doing a good job, but it does come back down to what is your industry doing, right?
Yeah, no, very true. And guess what? in the email list, when you have a click over here for this blog article, you're going to see that on your Google Analytics. Just say,
Yeah.
use it, people. And I mean, just going back to that LinkedIn user's question or just statement, right? Like strategizing using analytics, but also use it weekly. So you can like, you know what I mean? You can do like real time adjustments if you need, you know what I mean? If you if you paid $1,000 to have a campaign start and no views came to your website, that's an indicator that something is not right because it's not tracking and it's not firing properly. Maybe that campaign is not as live as you thought, but they're charging your account. I mean, there's so many reasons to use this other than like, I don't know, it just records a hit when somebody comes to my, there's so many things you can use it for.
Yeah.
I'll stop. I'm
Yes.
excited. Don't let me keep talking about Google Analytics.
I
Go to the
know.
next question. I can't do it.
This is our very last. This is going to be
Yeah.
the last topic we're going to talk about today because we just hit our 30 minutes. So the very last one is going to be, how can you stay ahead of the curve in marketing for your small business? Okay. So that's kind of a big question, right? Because you don't want to be playing catch up all the time. And so often we feel like we are. And as small business owners, so often that overwhelmingness of, I'm the CFO, I'm the CEO, I'm the marketer, I am the virtual assistant. You are all the things. If you don't have a team, you are that person. And so staying ahead of the curve in any of those areas, but marketing especially, can feel overwhelming and maybe a little bit like, I can't do it. Like, I'm just going to keep posting my graphic on Facebook and that's good enough, right?
Right.
So we're here to tell you that if you want to do that and that's your marketing goal, all right, then we're just going to thumbs up you and say good job. But if you want to change things up, there are ways that you can stay ahead of the curve. And for me, like the thing that comes to mind is understanding your competition. And lots of times as small business owners, we think we don't have competition, right? Like, I'm a sole proprietor that lives in the middle of nowhere, Texas, right? Who's my competition? Well, I still have competition. There's lots of other copywriters out there, and whether they live in the United Kingdom or whether they live here in Texas with me, we're all fighting for the same not fighting, that's the wrong word to use. You're
up for the same gig.
Yeah, we're all trying out for the same gigs, right? The ones that have the same audience. And so it's important to just keep an eye on those people, those companies, those other small business owners that are kind of in the same industry and field as you. What are they trying? Is it effective? Are you seeing really cool campaigns that you can use as inspiration for something that you want to do differently? Is their website so cool that you want to go there all the time? Maybe it's time to switch yours up and take some tips from what they've done on theirs to make yours a better user experience for your ideal audience. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can stay ahead of the curve when it comes to like just taking a peek at what that competition is doing now.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% agree. I think too, just, and this is like, again, adding time to your already busy schedule. I don't know how Annette does this because I constantly ask her, like, do you ever sleep? But like, you have to be really present in these platforms that you're being an expert to, because you can't advise somebody if you don't realize this was a super trend last week, right? So if I say a jingle and you're like, I don't know, you know what I mean? That's one way to stay ahead of the curve, because you can, okay, this is a trend. How can I use it? How can I make this usable for my client so we do it now and not a year later when it's kind of old news, right? So that's my thing. And I mean, I don't know. What have you been, how are you doing all the things?
Oh gosh. So I have to constantly do research. I had to, when building my new website and writing my marketing plan, which is like 8 pages long, I had to do the research on who the competition was, regardless of the fact that I am not at the level that Pink is or Adele. I still had to research, how are they upkeeping their sites? How are they upkeeping their marketing strategies? How do they do that stuff? Because I need to learn from them so that I can consistently keep adding more information to my site. So yeah, I'm always, even though my husband despises TikTok, I learn from TikTok and all the artists that are on there. How are they putting themselves out there? So yeah, it's a constant it's a constant, not battle, but it's a constant. You have to always do research, because all these artists out there are not, their websites aren't the same all the time. They're always changing it with a new album or a new trend or a new, and so I had to start doing that, to keep the audience wanting more, per se. So I guess in whatever business you're in, even when it was just the mental health, I always had to know the new statistics and the new. You always have to. You can't just sit back and be like, no, it'll do it on its own. You have to always keep learning, and especially with, I think, the Canva thing. That Canva is it. Yeah. Like Canva and Photoshop are the things that you have to know. And so the new stuff, the new attention grabbing information that people are going to go, that's so awesome. Have to keep doing it. Yeah.
True words, my friends. Seriously. Anna, great answer to that question. Annette, great answer to that question. I think, we've said it all today so far. I mean, we could have more, but again, and I wanted to talk about this real fast, is you have to be flexible in this marketing world. Anna and I talked about this right before, hey, we had a guest and all of a sudden we didn't have a guest, right? If you are not flexible, you get stuck. And I actually found myself stuck this morning right before we came on. And Anna and I were like, I went to get coffee. I took a minute and I paused while like my third cup of coffee was brewing. And I was just like, stop fixating on it, Selena. Like, you know what I mean? I came back and I said to Anna, you know what? I was stuck myself. I was like stuck in that moment. So I'm like, I just got to get fluid. And that's how Annette came, right? Like, because there's fluidity, but she's like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyway, so just be fluid, guys. I think that's important to know.
And that's what building relationships is about.
Yeah.
Like, you have to build one so that someone could come on in 10 minutes without.
Without there was no briefing, there was nothing, and that literally came on full trust that she was gonna make this successful. Which Anna and I also in the trust, we knew Annette was, because we built a strong relationship with Annette so far, right? So
so far.
So far. And just
game night coming up Saturday, Annette. So look at that.
We're there.
So,
and just to kind of round it all out, right? Like, this is all about trying and knowing that sometimes there will be failures, and picking yourself back up and just continuing to move forward.
Yes.
And so and these are I love this conversation today, because as a small business owner, right? These are all things we're experiencing. Sometimes it's nice to just sit down and powwow with a couple of friends and be like, let's talk this through. Now I feel energized, right? I feel energized to go forth and say, okay, my social media is not on point right now for my current business. So what am I going to do different? What small tweak can I make this week to improve it just that small amount?
I love your positivity, my friend.
I know. You're all going to be surprised. One of them is get back on LinkedIn. I haven't been on LinkedIn for 2 weeks. I've been
That's like a year in LinkedIn time, right?
I know. It is like a year in LinkedIn time. People forget who you are. They're off on you're a nobody, right? And so in my head, it's seriously like, I've got to get back on LinkedIn. So
Grandma has entered the chat, right? Hey, just because we're speaking that, if you are listening to this on our podcast, we will have Annette's LinkedIn, my LinkedIn, and Anna's LinkedIn in the bio area description. So just make sure you connect with us there on LinkedIn.
Yes, for sure. Connect with us. We're on all the different social platforms. So I think we're ready to close out our show for the day. Do we have our normal slides even, Selena? I don't even know if we do, but we're going to just tell you what's happening next week. All right.
Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. We're excited about this. Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to tell them. I don't have the slide. I was.
That's okay. We don't need the slide. I'm going to take it off Tigger though, so we can just have it be there. So next week we have Monique James of Renegade Creative Media Group, and she's going to come on and talk about content strategy. So if that doesn't just fit in with what we've been discussing, right? And there's always new things to learn about content strategy. Every marketer has a different style. So I'm super excited to talk with Monique. She's fantastic at what she does. She's also on LinkedIn. And so that's going to be next week. And then I'm going to just throw this out there. You can always find us at annaandselena.com. That's our website. On Facebook or Instagram, or find your favorite podcast platform and go and subscribe to both our YouTube channel and our podcast. We would super very much appreciate it. If you just search Anna and Selena, you will always find us. These two faces right here, Anna and Selena. We're there for you, right?
Yes, yes.
Annette, thank you so much for joining us today on this very last minute cold coffee, freshly brushed hair and teeth morning. We so appreciate you being here and being willing to just like throw out your spur of the moment ideas for being a small business owner and being a better marketer.
Yeah. All right,
Thanks
guys.
for having me.
Yeah. Bye. Ciao.